Hello, everybody.
Hey.
It's episode 6.
Yeah.
The Pod People.
Yeah, the pod people. I can't believe we made it to 6.
I know.
Very
I'm
good.
amazed that this hasn't broken down.
We're here. We made it this far.
That's true.
I've already come to blows
I think
3
we-
times during
Yeah.
pre-production.
I think we said this last episode too. So
Oh, did we?
episode 5. Yeah.
Man,
Every episode is a blessing.
we're just going over our old stuff. Like, that's our shtick. We're like, we can't think of anything new and creative. Hey, why don't we complain? Oh, there we go.
That's the way to go.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Hearts and minds.
That's what gets us motivated. So
Want to do the figures, the facts and the figures?
Yes. So today we watched Notorious B.I.G. We
No,
watched Big.
We didn't.
Oh,
we
okay.
just watched Big.
We
with
just
Tom
watched
Hanks.
Big. I'm sorry. That's
Yeah.
different.
Yeah.
Different
Thing.
yeah, that was a movie though.
Yeah.
They made a movie about it.
Just
They did.
Big,
It's
starring
a good one.
Yeah.
starring Tom Hanks. Yes.
Yeah.
Facts and figures, please.
All right. So it was released June 3rd, 1988. It had a budget of $18 million, and in the U.S. it grossed 114, almost 115 million, and then worldwide, 151 million.
That's really good.
Tom Hanks makes money.
Tom Hanks does make
He
money.
goes into the movie, and people are gonna throw down stacks of cash to watch it.
But you know who makes good movies? At least for a while? The director was Penny Marshall.
Yeah.
And she made the movie Awakenings, which was a Robert De Niro, Robin Williams film.
Oh, yeah?
It's very popular
Wow.
about experiments done by Oliver Sacks. It's
I don't
very
know what that is.
iconic. Maybe we'll do it someday. 'cause
Yeah,
it's really good.
I haven't even
She also
seen
did
it.
League of Their Own.
Okay, that's a fun movie.
And then
Tom
later...
Hanks, too?
Oh, yeah. I haven't seen A League of Their Own.
Oh, that's fun.
I've just heard he's in it.
Yeah.
And then later, in her crowning achievement, she did the Danny DeVito film Renaissance Man.
Oh, well, there you go.
Was this one was Tom Hanks already? I don't know. This is '88.
Yeah, he was already.
Yeah,
around.
he's been on the scene.
You know what's a weird one? Here's one that'll blow your mind. So Ron Howard's directorial debut and Tom Hanks' first big screen movie
Mhm.
is the same movie, and it's Splash of all things.
I should see Splash.
Isn't that funny though?
Yeah.
It's like such a random movie.
That was when they first.
Yeah, that was Ron Howard's directorial debut, and it's Tom Hanks' first big movie.
Wow.
And stars were born.
Yeah.
Forged, maybe.
However you want to put it. Same idea.
All right, so we start off with Josh playing kind of like a King's Quest type thing.
Yeah, he's playing some little computer game.
He's playing. It's interesting. It's half one of those text adventures, like maybe like
Yeah.
a Myst, but then it's also an old graphics thing. I'm pretty sure they formulated it for this film because it's kind of odd.
Yeah. So Josh
It's-
is we hear his mom calling him. That's how we know. It's
Yeah,
like
he's
a little boy.
he's clicking away, and then we're treated to a little montage of him doing kid stuff. You know, he's going around the park, chilling out,
Yeah, hanging out with his buddy Billy.
hanging out with his buddy Billy, who's
he's the best.
he's my favorite character.
Right?
Oh, I didn't look up who Billy was.
Dude, he's like the most grown up.
I know.
Oh man,
Billy's fantastic.
he's the
Well,
man.
more on Billy. So he's just kind of doing kid stuff, hanging out, riding bikes, doing little songs,
Playing
playing a little
stickball,
ball.
yeah.
Yeah, just chilling.
around 13 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
12.
he's 12
Yeah.
now.
12
He will be 13.
Yeah,
Oh.
because his birthday. Yeah.
So, he's a kid.
Yeah.
His parents are in charge. He doesn't have much. He has to deal with his baby sister and with Cynthia.
Yeah.
She looks like a 1980s Barbie.
Yeah, that's true.
She's got I don't even know what that's called.
I don't know.
That hairstyle.
But
She's got 80s hair.
Yeah. It's up in a ponytail, but it's kind of
Off to the side.
Yeah.
It's more hair than would be in a ponytail. It's kind of just bunched up and then falling
Yeah.
off.
We're not
in
really
one
fashion
direction.
people.
No.
I don't know.
Something Queen Amidala would have when she was 12.
Yeah. My head shaved. I don't know anything about hair. I don't know.
I can really see the swastika tattoo.
Oh man, that's fucked up. That's just fucked up. Oh man.
Appreciate that.
So Josh and his family go to the fair. Fun times, and Josh sees Cynthia in line for a roller coaster.
Yeah.
He tries to impress her, get on the roller coaster, but she's got a dude with him who drives.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
even funnier than that, though, because she's like, "Are you here alone?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm here alone." And then she's like, "Aren't those your parents?" And they're all like, "Hi, Josh."
Hey, Josh! Pictures being taken, they're waving, way longer than necessary. I'd say it looks totally fake and staged because no parents would be that embarrassing,
Oh,
but we
come
all
on.
know that's not true. They are.
Everybody's got those parents.
Yeah. They look like they're tourists at Disneyland. It's terrible. But Josh isn't tall enough to get onto the roller coaster.
No, he's not.
No, he's too short.
Yeah, it happens, man.
Yeah.
I mean, not to you. You were like 8 feet tall, like at 12.
It's
but
true.
The rest of us weren't.
I don't know how I shrunk to this lowly, slightly above 6 foot, but puberty was very interesting for me. So it's a pituitary gland thing.
That's right.
You got too tall, and then the Gary Coleman thing happened, but you're already tall enough, so it didn't knock you like
That's
way
right.
down. Yeah.
I am the world's tallest dwarf to this day, or the world's shortest giant. Let the audience decide. So, so he looks around at the fair. He's depressed. It looks like he's gonna cry. It's
Yeah, man.
adorable.
Well, super embarrassing.
Yeah. And then he sees it, off in the corner. He sees Zoltar.
Yeah.
It's like it's a fortune-telling machine,
Yeah.
old-timey one. You put in a nickel, you get a card. But
It's actually a quarter.
well, no, I mean, the old ones you put in a nickel, and it's like kind of animatronic a little bit. It's bobbing up and down with its mouth open,
Yeah.
red eyes, kind of a turban thing on.
You know, some messed up part. If it was now, it'd be $1. Because everything's
Yeah,
$1.
you're right.
And
Well, hey, for $1, if I could be Tom Hanks.
that's true. That's a small price to pay.
Yeah, definitely.
That's,
Where's the Being John Malkovich of Tom Hanks? There's a movie
oh,
there.
man. I don't know. We will look for it.
That's something we should get on before it's too late.
I like it. He'd probably be into it. He seems like a cool guy.
Yeah, he might go for it. He's been flexing, doing all those really good movies. It's time for him to lower the bar a little bit.
Well, that was Toy Story 3.
Toy Story 3 was a masterpiece.
I just had to say it.
We'll see about 4 if that ever is the thing. I don't want them to do it. It ended perfectly, pitch perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Also,
It was a lot of fun.
I know this is terrible to anybody listening. When this podcast ends, remind me to tell you about Andy's dad.
Oh,
The
yeah.
real, true story of Andy's dad.
Oh, man. Yes, I need
100% legit.
All right, man.
After the mic goes off.
Yeah, of course.
So he gets the Zoltar, and it has kind of a quarter slot, and you have to time it to fall in Zoltar's mouth that's going slowly open and close. And at this point, I'm thinking it's Pennywise in disguise, because it is really creepy.
Oh my, that was pretty good though.
It's not right. So he lands it right there. Quarter rolls into Zoltar's mouth, and it says he gets a card that his wish is granted. What is his wish? Wish is to be big.
Yeah.
That's all he says.
You got
So
embarrassed in front of Cynthia.
Yeah, man. Because
So-
he wasn't tall enough.
Yeah,
So,
he wasn't
he
tall enough.
wants to be tall.
so he goes home that night, and the next morning he wakes up and he's got man legs.
Oh, yeah, man.
Zoltar turned him not only into a man but into Tom Hanks.
That's pretty high. That's
Oh,
pretty
yeah.
high on the man you could be.
Yeah,
Zoltar helped him out.
Zoltar, Zoltar, he's not doing the whole, monkey's paw thing. He's giving you exactly
Yeah.
what you asked for.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
So Tom Hanks, he's dancing around. He's trying to figure out what's up. He goes to the bathroom. His mom's yelling at him from downstairs, telling him to do this or that or the other thing. And while he's in the bathroom, he looks at himself in the mirror, and he kind of shrugs it off that he's still not awake. And then he wakes up and he checks himself out in the mirror and freaks out and does the whole, song and dance.
Same old story.
He goes back into his room. His mom's yelling at him, come down, eat breakfast, all the kinds of junk. He's dancing around. He tries to put his pants on. All of his clothes are ripping. He's bouncing all around the wall. He's falling down. He sneaks into his dad's house, steals his dad's clothes, his dad's room. Steals his dad's clothes.
The whole thing's his house.
And then what he does is he just slides his sister out across on her little toy on the floor and runs out the front door.
Yeah.
So his mom doesn't have to see that he's big, not to freak her out. He jumps on his bike and starts riding away.
Yep.
Then he comes back.
Well, he goes to the fairgrounds.
That's right. He goes to the fairgrounds to try to find Zoltar. It's empty. He goes back. His mom freaks out because, a dude comes through her.
Yeah.
Like,
Grown man. Like, yeah.
Exactly. Tom Hanks was pretty big. Boy.
Man,
Tom Hanks was a large star at the time, but, maybe not a household name. So, she sees Tom Hanks. She freaks out, and it's a great scene because Tom Hanks runs in, and Mom freaks out. Then he's like, oh, and he runs back out and wipes his shoes. He comes back in. It's a great little thing because, it's probably the shoe.
Yeah.
So, anyway, after a while, it gets creepier and creepier. The mom gets more and more
She
freaked
throws
out.
the purse at him. Just take the money.
Take the money. Tom Hanks tries to show her his birthmark, but, he just takes his pants off, and Mom grabs a knife and starts yelling at him. And human misery is hilarious.
Yeah.
We laugh at her pain. At the idea of a mother torn from her child and threatened by a man intruding into her home. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
So,
Old classic.
it is a really funny scene, but there's
No,
nothing funny about
yeah,
it.
I know, yeah.
It's funny for us.
Yeah.
It's not funny for her.
Yeah.
So, Tom Hanks is essentially homeless now. He's running around. He doesn't know what to do, and then he decides to go get Billy.
Yeah, man.
So Billy has shown himself to be rather resourceful up to this point. He's got the inside track, the inside connection. He just seems like a smart kid.
He's got it figured out.
He's the T.J. Detweiler of this movie.
Yeah. It's a good man to have on retainer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you have a TJ in your life, do not squander him.
Yeah. That's a very good point.
So Billy is just getting trashed in basketball. He gets pelted by dodgeballs. This is at
because he's
school.
in gym class.
Yeah, he's in gym class, and Tom Hanks hides around a corner, waiting for him, to come in. So when he's putting all the balls away, Tom Hanks jumps up and says, "Hi, I'm Tom Hanks."
Yeah.
U.S. government's lost all of their credibility, so they're borrowing some of mine. No, so kid freaks out because Tom Hanks is assaulting him, or Tom Hanks is just standing there, and this kid's a good actor. He's crying.
Yeah.
He's like against the wall. Tears are flowing, and Tom Hanks comes up with the idea, oh, we got to do the song. Only I know this song. It's like a shimmy, shimmy, Coco, but with all kinds of things and moves, and the kid buys it.
You gotta learn it, man.
This is how you get kids into your ice cream truck. You just got to know their dances.
Yeah. Your little secret handshakes.
That's right.
Yeah.
And you too can convince them that you're an older version of one of their friends. Don't try that at home, kids.
Yeah, no.
Or adults. Don't do that. Nobody.
Definitely don't. Just
do
anybody.
not listen to me.
Don't try that anywhere.
Yeah. Yeah.
Luring children Pied Piper style into your ice cream truck is wrong.
Yes.
Okay, so the lawyer's happy?
Yeah, the lawyers
Okay,
are
the lawyers are
We're
happy.
good.
Okay,
That's
we'll
good.
move on. Stick it to the man.
Yeah, man.
So this kid sneaks past the police. Billy goes into his house, gets a whole bag of shit, sneaks past the police at Josh's house.
Yeah. The dog starts barking at him. He's like, shut up!
Gives Tom Hanks his care package, which is, got clothes. He's got some emergency money, because, it's an emergency.
Yeah.
They drive to the big city, and they go to a flop house.
Well, no, they go to the St. James Hotel because Billy says, it's religious.
That's right.
It must be.
Which is such kid rationale, right?
So they go to the St. James Hotel, which I think is the same place that Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall stayed in Coming to America. It's just a dump.
Yeah.
It's really bad. And Tom Hanks is here. Billy leaves because he's got to be home by 10.
Yeah, man.
So, and before Billy leaves in this really crummy looking apartment, he says, "You better use the chain," referring to the chain on the door.
Which is
Not
so
the best
great.
place to be.
Yeah, it's so Tom Hanks locks the door and there's gunshots outside. He double locks it, and then someone's yelling in Spanish, and Tom Hanks is a racist, so he puts his the shelf up against the wall. Nobody's getting through.
Yeah.
And that's his night, and then he goes into bed and starts crying because he's an adult and he's lonely.
It'd be terrifying, man.
Which is where Billy swoops in again the next day.
Yeah, because they're going to try to track down a Zoltar machine.
Yeah.
To unfuck this situation.
That's right. So Billy comes in again, and they go to a couple different arcades. Nobody has a Zoltar.
Mm-hmm.
after striking out everywhere, they go to City Hall, it looks like.
Yeah.
And they ask for a requisition form, and they're given one. They got to fill it out in triplicate, and they'll get results in 6 weeks.
He's like the Department of Public Affairs, is I think what the actual title was.
Yeah.
Of the...
So, terrible place. Never go there.
Yeah, definitely. That's a
So,
terrible job.
so they find out it'll be 6 weeks. So they have to get
Yeah.
Josh a job.
So he has to make 6 weeks, man.
Yeah, he's got to survive 6 weeks being big. So they're looking through newspapers and goofing around like kids in a diner. I spit out a cherry.
Well, it's great because Tom Hanks is an adult, so everyone's like, "What the hell is wrong with this guy?"
Most of the humor in this film is found from like he's an adult doing kid stuff.
Yeah.
Which it wouldn't work if it wasn't Tom Hanks because he does it with such childlike glee.
Yeah.
You buy it.
To be Tom Hanks would be pretty great.
Yeah. So they're going through the newspaper and they find, there's a job, with computers. I'm good with computers. I play video games. And he goes and he sits in the interview thing and he makes up a social security number, fraud by the way. And they try to cheat off of someone else's resume.
Which is hilarious.
Yeah. Goes in, does the interview. And he gets the job because somebody else is dropping the ball and it's terrible. And he just basically, through a series of misunderstandings, convinces the interviewer that he's completely qualified for the job.
Yeah.
He gets hired. He starts. He's at his computer desk.
It's like data entry stuff for a toy company. Yeah.
Meanwhile, I didn't see this coming. The guy in the it's not quite a cubicle. But the person next to him, the desk next to him, is John Lovitz, the critic himself, Mr. It Stinks.
It stinks.
If you haven't seen The Critic, your life is a black hole, and no matter how fulfilled you are, how many significant others you've accrued, how happy you are, how many children you can feed, it's all meaningless because you haven't seen The Critic.
Yeah, man.
Which actually. This film was one of the executive producers was James L. Brooks of the Gracie Productions, who do The Simpsons and whatnot, and he was also an executive producer on The Critic. So I wonder if that's how John Lovitz got the hookup.
Yeah, could be, man.
To do Big, or actually no, this Big took place before The Critic, so
maybe Big got him.
Big got him The Critic.
There you go, man.
Anyway, John Lovitz in almost everything he's in, except for The Critic, where you don't see his face and it's just his voice. It's an animated, thing. He always plays like the biggest slime ball. He's just like this greasy, yucky. He's a poor man's almost like I'd almost say like almost any role Danny DeVito's almost like done. Like if you can't afford Danny DeVito, you gotta settle for John Lovitz. Which is really harsh because I really love John Lovitz.
Yeah.
He's great. Everything he's in, I think he just does what he needs to do, pitch perfectly. But he always plays like a greasy slime ball guy.
Yeah.
And I just bring it up. He's not really a big part of the movie. He's got like 2-3 scenes. He doesn't do much, but I love him and he's here. So now you know.
Yeah.
So Billy doesn't really know what he's doing. He's running around. He bumps into the...
Josh.
I'm
Billy's
sorry.
his friend.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Josh, Tom Hanks.
Yes.
He does. Billy's the kid's name. Billy is the name for a kid for me, so it's just kind of.
Well, I'm with you, but that's why I'm here.
Yeah, because we watched it.
Yeah. Billy boy. Oh man, good times. But yeah, so he's running around.
Trusts his fist against the posts and still insists it sees the ghosts.
Oh goodness, man. I can't even. I'm just like I'm broken now. Yeah.
So Josh is running down the hall and he bumps into the boss.
Yeah.
The boss is played by Robert Loggia, and I don't know if I'm pronouncing that last name right, but you probably have seen him at some point. He's done a lot of work over the years. He got an Academy Award in The Jagged Edge. He's all over the place.
Man, he really researched for this one.
The only thing, well, I like when I was watching this, there was a lot of people that I just vaguely knew, and I felt like I deserved to look them up because they're really good. The only thing I can think of the top of my head that I actually knew he was in was he's the main general in Independence Day, and he's also the voice of Sykes in the Disney Oliver and Company. So if you know who that is, you can get a good picture of him. And he plays... How would you describe him? He's fun.
You're the boss? Yeah, he's super
The
fun.
boss is...
He's like a guy you would hope that would work at like a toy company.
Yeah, he's not into the sales sheets or the projections. That's his intro. He's walking down the hall briskly telling people that, like, what does any of this mean? You know, is the toy fun?
Yeah, that's all he cares about, like, how the kids feel.
And he smacks right into Tom Hanks. Yeah. And then they talk for a little bit. They get a little bit of an introduction, and then they part ways. Meanwhile, you know, Tom Hanks just kind of keeping his head down, but I think, boy, I really got lost in these. Yeah, there we go. He calls his mom. No. He calls his mom to at work, you know, to tell her that he's okay.
Yeah.
And as he's telling her that, he realizes that his mom thinks that adult him has kidnapped child him, which is a fair assumption because your kid disappears the same day there's a random weird guy in your house.
Yeah.
You know, fair enough. So Josh plays along and he says, "Oh, he's fine, you know. He's okay." And Mom's like, "I want to talk to him." And he's like, "Well, is there anything that you could ask to, like, you know he's okay?" And she says, "What's the song that I sang him when I was a kid?" And he looks around for a while, but eventually he gives in and starts singing Memories over the phone. So this is really well done. So you got Tom Hanks, he's on the phone, he's mumbling Memories. Memories like the corners of my mind. Meanwhile, the mom is bawling. Oh, she's crying. Once again, human misery. Yeah. Hilarious.
It's the best.
But meanwhile, we have Tom Hanks trying to keep this on the down low, and John Lovitz is just staring at him like, "What are you doing?" Got your memories of the way we were. So that song is supposed to make you think of the movie The Way We Were with Robert Redford and Barbra Streisand. Couldn't remember Barbra Streisand for There's something wrong with me.
Seriously, yeah, you get yourself checked out.
All I can think of when I hear that song is Naked Gun 2.5.
Oh, I like Naked Gun.
There's a shower scene. There's a woman in the shower and she's singing Memories, and there's an assassin there who's trying to kill her. She's in there singing that song, and the assassin hears it, and it kind of takes him away. And he starts singing it with her very quietly. He's like, "It's a corn," and he's like. He's got tears in his eyes. He's screwing on the silencer of the way we were. And she starts hearing him, and he just belts it up. It was all so simple then. And that's on a way different tangent.
Yeah, man.
I got out there. But anyway, so it's a cute scene. It's funny. Human misery and John Lovitz go so well together. And payday comes.
Yeah.
And Tom Hanks gets a check for $187.
Pretty good day.
Which is more money than he's ever seen. This is 1988 money, so that's like $300. I don't know what inflation is.
I don't know.
But it's probably like $250 in all honesty.
Yeah.
It's a pretty sweet deal.
Well, let's see. That was 30 years ago.
Really?
Yeah,
something like that.
Yeah. 1988 was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So 2% inflation a year.
Yeah.
So anyway, 30 years ago.
Not too bad.
That's crazy, man.
Not that crazy. All right.
So
Math's fun.
Yeah.
So now Tom Hanks has swole pockets, and he's just buying junk food.
Yeah, him and Bill are going ape shit.
Which is great because they could have shot like a spending spree and it would have been fine and dumb, but they skipped that. They're just in his crappy hotel eating junk food, and it's perfect. You don't need it. You don't need that stupid sequence everybody puts in. You get the picture.
Yeah.
So he goes to the FAO Schwartz toy store.
Yeah, the next day.
which is a super famous toy store in New York. And it closed down a couple years ago, I believe, that toy store. But
I'm not sure.
I could be wrong, but I think I heard that somewhere that toy store closed down. It's but no, it's huge, and it's famous for the large piano on the floor, as seen in Big, which we will get to. So, so he's playing laser tag with random kids and just dancing around this toy store. He's doing all the fun stuff.
Just messing around.
Just partying in this toy store. And he gets shot by a kid in laser tag, and he's on the ground spasming, and he looks up and he sees the boss.
Yep.
The big boss.
What's his name? Millen McMaster?
Oh,
in the movie?
Macmillan.
I
That's the last name. Is
Okay.
I don't know. I didn't catch his first name, but it's Macmillan Toys. So
Yeah,
his
Macmillan.
last name's Macmillan.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, him and his wife run the thing. McMillan. No, okay. Totally.
Yeah, I was gone. Man.
Abort! So,
You can't say that word. That's not okay.
while we were watching this film and they brought out the young daughter, didn't you say you were a firm believer in incredibly late-term abortions?
So anyway, so he's with the boss, and they're
So he's
walking
with the
around the
boss,
toy
yeah.
store. They're talking about toys, and they're talking about how kids are what matters, not the spreadsheets or
So
anything.
this is a good scene because the boss asks him different opinions on toys, and he says, Tom Hanks says, you know, I'm a fan of super late-term abortions. I'm not dropping this. No, so...
Damn, dude, this is like getting so heavy. This is supposed to be a fun movie. A fun time.
And it was.
Damn, man.
So Tom Hanks says some really insightful things about the toys, which is like, hey, you know, this hockey table, it used to move back and forth, and now it just rotates. What's up with that? And he's pointing out all these really insightful things about this toys, and the boss is like, yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And then Tom Hanks accidentally steps on a piano. There's this huge piano on the floor. If you've heard anything about this movie, you know about this piano.
Yeah.
It's the scene that made this movie. And Tom Hanks gets on, and the boss gets on, and they start doing a little jam session.
Yeah.
They do Heart and Souls, and then they do Chopsticks on this. And I was shocked because the boss, he's moving.
Oh, he got some air, man.
He's doing everything Tom Hanks is doing, and he is not a young man at this point. I don't know exactly where he's at, but he's probably in his 50s or 60s at this point.
Yeah, I would imagine, yeah.
I think he died when he was 78. I don't know. I'd have to look it up again, but
You're doing all right though.
he's doing great. He's moving around, he's running, and he's hitting those keys. That was the impressive part for me because you know he's really moving.
Yeah.
So so him and the boss are in tight now, and the boss basically gives him a promotion on the spot.
Yeah, man.
So like you're in data, and they make him vice president
Of product development.
And so he's with Billy, just messing around in this toy paradise.
Because he used to play with toys all day.
Yeah, because he's the vice president of development, and Billy asks an incredibly apt question, which is, so if the president dies, do you become president?
So funny.
It's like all the way to the top.
So we've kind of seen two characters before kind of splattered through, and now they kind of come into focus. There's Susan and Paul.
Yeah.
And they're kind of dating, it seems like.
Yeah,
they're seen together. They carpool. They're in the same apartment and whatnot. And Paul's a douchebag.
Oh, terrible person.
Yeah, Paul is played by John Hurd.
Yeah.
And you've heard of John Hurd.
He's in so much stuff.
He's like he was the dad in Home Alone 1 and 2. Yeah. And he plays a family man all right, but he really shines as a douchebag. Yeah. He plays so many douchebags, and he is excellent at it. Yeah. He always just hits the nail on the head of like just a business guy who doesn't care about anything but his own power and money. Yeah. He does it really well. Yeah. In fact, I don't know, maybe there's a Home Alone connection here.
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe it's the same guy.
Yeah, it could be, man.
Could have a Don Draper double life.
Oh. I don't get that one.
Oh, it's from Mad Men.
Yeah, I didn't watch it.
It's okay.
Which is astonishing because I love John Hamm. But, yeah.
I know you love John Hamm, and yet no Mad Men. I guess there's only one Madman good enough for this podcast.
That's right, man.
The Madman Mars.
Damn right. Love that guy.
So,
The Madman.
so Paul, douchebag of 1988.
Yeah.
He's giving a presentation in front of everybody. Tom Hanks is enough of a bigwig that he can sit in on this, so he's giving a presentation, and he's got charts and sheets and projection. And meanwhile, while he's giving out all these statistics, Tom Hanks is playing with a building robot, which objectively does not look fun.
No, it's like falling apart.
It's kind of falling apart. It has two arms on the side and a spring-up head. And if you are a connoisseur of robots that transform, as I am, that's no good. Things that spring out like that, like there needs to be some kind of puzzle element. You can't just have it fold out like a piece of paper. You gotta like weave things in and lock. It's a piece of garbage, and Tom Hanks knows it. We all know it. So he's messing with this thing, and at the end, he asks Paul asks if there are any questions. John Hurd, and Tom Hanks raises his hand like a kid in class, and he goes, "Yes, I don't get it." Because he doesn't. It's all facts and figures, and the toy's dumb.
Yeah.
He has all these projections, and so, Paul's pissed off at this, but Tom Hanks thinks, why don't we make it a bug?
Yeah.
Bugs are fun, and
Prehistoric
everyone's like, a bug, yeah, giant prehistoric, and they're all talking, and, they're all like, yeah, that's a great idea, and, like, nobody at this boardroom has ever heard of the Insecticons, which are the insect Decepticons that, came from the planet Cybertron and were on Earth.
Now that's a tangent. You
I have
want to
no
talk about
idea.
going off? That's that one right there, man.
The point is, this movie was released in 1988. I believe Transformers in America was 84, and Insecticons came out somewhere between 84 and 86, I believe. I'm not sure, but the point is, Insecticons are old. They're done. It's over. They're not past the curve.
Yeah.
They're
They
not
should
ahead
have
of the
already
curve.
been,
Yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah, we got it.
Point is, they should have done their research. That's what I'm saying. I'm going to nitpick this classic movie, which has, very few actual flaws, and just, step on the one thing that they didn't know about the Insecticons.
Yeah, you're right. So insects.
Yes,
That's
insects.
about it.
Yeah.
That's the point.
And it would be like another 8 years till the Beetleborgs would hit the scenes.
Oh man.
Big bad
Beetleborgs.
Beetleborg.
Dude, I love that show.
Which aren't exactly transformed.
Oh man, what a show.
My point has been made. The gauntlet laid down.
All right, so we can get on with it.
He doesn't get the topic.
Sorry, I have 2 pages of notes here, and about a fourth of one page is just dedicated to the Insecticons.
Holy crap, dude.
That one, I know. There's something wrong with me.
Seriously.
So Tom Hanks has money, power, and influence, and he's just blowing it in arcade games, Coke machines, a new apartment, and it is...
that is a dope ass apartment.
If you're a kid in the 1980s, this is your Valhalla.
Oh man.
This is where, dreams are made.
I want it now in 2018.
Me too.
On,
There's very little that's aged. There's a giant Godzilla inflatable doll. There's trampolines, or perhaps it's not Godzilla. Perhaps it's a intellectual property creatively distinct from Godzilla. I don't know. He's got a basketball hoop, a Coke machine, pinball, and a trampoline.
Oh, man.
And he's got a bunk bed.
Yeah.
He's only one dude, and
Yeah.
Billy's got to get back before 10, but he has a bunk bed anyway.
That's the weird thing, though. Because at home, he has bunk beds, right?
I think it's the same bunk bed. Not the exact, not the same one from his house, but I think it's the same model bunk bed.
I don't think so, because the one at home looked like it was like wood, and this one's like metal.
Maybe. Well, I remember red.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
I don't know, but it's really weird. That
Well, he's comfortable with a bunk bed.
No, I know, but how weird is it to have bunk beds without another person on the other one?
That's right, because it's him.
And then
his sister.
yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know.
I mean, obviously the kid's gonna end up needing
We'll have
it.
to ask Ann Spielberg, one of the writers for this movie.
I don't know. It's kind of weird. It just makes you think super depressing thoughts. Like, was there another kid that died?
I was thinking the baby kid grow into that.
Well, I mean, obviously, yeah, but I mean, he's substantially older than the baby, which means he's probably had his bunk bed for a while.
Well, they might have had it
Yeah,
in anticipation.
the crib is in their dad's room.
No, it's in his room, I think.
No, because when he
It wasn't his dad's
when
room.
he runs over, he runs past the sister to steal his dad's clothes.
Oh,
in the beginning.
okay.
So yeah, he's gonna have to share a room with his sister when he's older. No
Yeah.
wonder he wants to skip that, because that's gonna be hell.
Yeah.
He's gonna be hitting puberty when his little sister comes in there.
Oh man.
That's gonna be bad.
Yeah, no, it's none of this is gonna be good.
Uh-uh.
It's gonna be a shit show. So I've looked too deeply into the soul of this film.
Yeah, we just gotta get back on it, man.
Okay, so
Bunk bed.
he's got a bunk bed, and it's fantastic. So he has this fun montage of all this fun stuff.
Yeah.
Him and Billy just chilling, doing stupid stuff, and them driving their secretary wild. And he goes to the corporate party.
Well, no, before that, he writes a letter to his mom.
That's right.
Yeah.
He writes a letter to his mom.
I'm
and he says
okay. It's like summer
well,
camp.
that's during
yeah.
the fun montage.
Yeah.
The fun montage is kind of framed by this letter to mom where
Yeah.
he's going to Yankee Stadium doing a whole bunch of fun New
Yeah.
York stuff. And
So he's trying to like have his parents not freak out as much.
so he goes to the corporate party,
Yeah.
and everyone there, suit and tie, black, looking real nice.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks shows up, and he's in like a white mariachi getup.
Oh man, he's got like the tails and
He's got
everything.
coattails.
Oh,
All he's missing is an over-the-top top hat.
he's looking dapper, man.
He does. Yeah.
Yeah.
And everybody's laughing at him
Yeah.
when he goes down, and he's still a kid. He still gets embarrassed.
Yeah.
He doesn't know what he's doing. He's winging it. He tries all the food. He doesn't know how to eat. Party's not great, and Susan kind of looks over at Tom Hanks and just suddenly realizes all at once, oh my God, that's Tom Hanks. And like any woman in this time period, she goes,
Oh yeah.
She'd like to
Mama wants it.
T. Hanks that in the morning.
That's right, man. Oh yeah.
T. Hanks, you sir. So, Tom Hanks is eating caviar, and it's disgusting. And he spits it out, and they share a corporate car home, and she's trying to talk to him.
It's a
about...
limo.
It's a limo, that's right.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks, he's messing around, and she's trying to tell him,
Touch on the buttons and everything.
when you're attracted to somebody, he's dancing around, clicking all the toggles, messing with the radio. And she's kind of getting peeved at this, but he opens up the, what's it called? The moonroof? I don't know what they call it.
Like the sunroof?
The sunroof. I don't know.
I don't know.
What's the difference?
I don't know.
One of them like opens up all the way, and then
One of them just has a shade.
Yeah,
on
it's
it.
just like the glass is there, but
Tomas wouldn't know the difference. I
Tomas,
wouldn't
yeah.
even.
I think so. I could be wrong, but I know there's.
Sounds right to me.
It's better than I know.
Basically, it opens up. It's the kind that opens up.
We will bullshit till we run out of words, ladies and gentlemen.
Amen.
So he, they go through the glass ceiling.
Yeah.
And and they see the city, and then they hit a bump and they fall down, and it's really nice and cute. And then Tom Hanks says, "Oh, my apartment's right there," and she's like, "Oh, would you like to go there?" And he's like, "Yeah." So they stop at Tom Hanks' apartment, and she starts having second thoughts. She says, "I don't know if I want to do this." And Tom Hanks says, "Do what?" He's a kid, and
Just makes you laugh.
favorite
so
line
hard.
in the movie.
Yeah.
Because this seems like something that I've done in real life. Like, perhaps exaggerated, but not far from the truth. So she's like, and two people, spend the night, it might not be something I really, should be doing. And Tom Hanks says, "Oh, like a sleepover?" And she says, "Well, yeah." And he says, "Okay, but I get to be on top." Referring, of course, to the bunk bed.
Yeah.
So they walk through, and she sees his apartment, and it's glorious.
It's the best place ever.
It's fantastic. It's just all fun and trampolines, and it takes her a while. It takes Tom Hanks a while, but he finally coaxes her to get on the trampoline. They start having a lot of fun. Just bouncing up and down. If you've ever had a trampoline, it's a fantastic experience.
Or a friend that has a trampoline, as I did. Because I always lived in an apartment. There was no trampolines for me. But Dutch had a trampoline.
Dutch did have a trampoline, and his fat ass broke every one. Have you ever been on a trampoline and springs just start popping off? Because that happened to me. I wasn't even grown yet. I was 16 years old, and I saw springs popping off, and I had to crawl to the edge. like a bitch. I didn't want to go under, get wrapped up in trampoline.
It's like when you're on ice and it starts breaking.
No, that's exactly what it was like. I like spread flat, slowly inching my way to the corner. And as I was, more springs were popping.
Oh, man.
This trampoline was like 3 or 4 feet off the ground, and every now and then I'd bounce, and my feet would hurt because I'd hit the ground.
Dang,
Wow.
man.
I was a fat kid.
Yeah.
Now I'm a fat man.
Yeah. I can't feel you, man.
Almost broke my leg broken jumping on it with you.
He's like a bull in a china shop, man.
I broke my cousin's leg on a trampoline.
There you go.
I snapped it back.
I'm not surprised, man.
We were both kids, and like I'm only like 3 years older than him, but that 3 years was like a foot and 100 pounds, and it was.
So I got lucky.
It's so bad.
No, it didn't snap. It bent the wrong way. It fractured.
Oh, God. Why?
No, and we were just jumping, and we were laughing, and suddenly he just dropped to the ground and started screaming, and I didn't know why.
That's
just
so
shrieking at the top of his lungs, and I was like, Auntie, Mom, something's wrong with your kid.
So hyperextension is what happened.
You know what? To this day, for some reason, I didn't ask. So what happened when, I broke your leg on the trampoline?
Well, I figure if it was hyperextension, it would have been pretty obvious. Because you see stuff going the wrong way, right?
I didn't see anything. We were jumping. He went down, started screaming.
Wow. You're having a lot of fun there, obviously, right?
Yeah. So back in the movie, nobody broke their legs.
How are you not laughing at this?
That's because we're talking about the trampoline, right?
Tomas doesn't think it's funny that a human being's legs snapped.
Yeah, I'm here watching this, like... Wow. I learned a lot.
Stop laughing!
I'm learning a lot today.
Alright, we're professionals. Moving on.
No, we're not.
This won't make it into the podcast.
Sure it will.
I'll just delete it.
So,
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah.
Alright.
so they're on the trampoline. No one's legs breaks. Tom Hanks goes off to the side to brush his teeth.
Yeah.
And when he comes back, Susan.
Oh, yeah, man.
I don't know if I brought that up that this was Susan from the beginning, but this is
You mean her name?
Susan, yeah. And
Yeah.
Susan, she's lying in that movie pose, which means it's about to go down.
She's ready.
It's like how someone would lay on a piano if
Yeah.
they were, and she's wearing like a sports jersey.
She wants
and,
the business.
Yeah, on the bottom half of the bunk bed.
Yeah, man.
And Tom Hanks just runs up to the top bunk.
Yeah, hops up.
Yeah.
Like you said, he wants to be on top, right?
Which is also very similar to something I've done in my life. However, I'd never go to the top bunk because those arms would snap and that woman would be dead. So,
Be an incident.
her leg would break at the very least.
Oh.
So, also known as an incredibly extreme late-term abortion. So Tom Hanks is at the top of the bunk bed. He pops his head down. He's got 2 fists out. He's like, pick one. So she picks one. There's nothing in it. And he pops back up and says, pick one. And she picks one. And he opens up the other one like a kid, and there's nothing in it. And then he hands it to her. He's like, it's a glow-in-the-dark compass, so you can find your way. And it's super sweet and cute and something only like an adorable kid would do.
Yeah.
And she's just kind of going to bed wondering, what the hell?
Yeah, what is wrong with this guy?
In the morning, Tom's going to think she wet the bed. He
Oh.
doesn't know.
That's so gross.
Oh, God.
You're a monster.
I'm running on 3 hours of sleep.
Yeah,
And it seems to be working today.
I
You're
think
doing
so,
alright,
man.
You're doing good.
Yeah, man.
So after they finish with the scene I call the trampoline of passion, Paul invites Josh for squash.
Yeah.
They
Squash.
go
That's the name of it?
for very rich people. I think it was
I just put
squash.
racquetball. It's the same shit.
It might have been racquetball.
Isn't
They
that the
had
same
2
shit?
paddles that they were slapping a ball against the wall with.
Something like that. You're very laugh shaded.
So they were, going back and forth and whatnot. So they're having this thing, and Josh doesn't know how the game works, and he gets an explanation briefly. And a little bit through this game, Paul cheats.
Yeah.
And
because Josh starts to catch up.
Josh starts to catch up, and Paul realizes it, so he cheats. He changes the rules, and he says, no, that's not one of the rules. I never said that So Josh is like, that's not fair. You're a cheater. He's like, give me the ball. That's not fair. You're a cheater. And they start fighting in public. They're like kids fighting.
Yeah.
It's great because they're like dancing around. He's holding the ball out, not letting him have it, and they're just going back and forth.
Wrestling and stuff. Yeah.
He ends up punching Tom Hanks in the face. I don't know. I think it's off screen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
But Susan's putting them together, and then she immediately goes and breaks up with Paul.
Yeah.
And Paul brings up how, he's just another link in the chain of men, And she's like, this one's different. He's like, he's an adult.
Yeah, and she's like, he's a grown-up.
Yeah, he's a grown-up. So Josh takes her to the carnival. And they're having a great time at the carnival.
And side note,
yes,
Josh is really great at carnival games because
right.
her arms are full of stuffed animals.
That's right. She's got a bunch of stuffed animals.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've been to a carnival.
Yeah.
They are hard to
They're
come by.
rigged.
Then again, he's got a really expensive job and nothing but disposable income to just throw at toys. So maybe it was just he brute forced it.
We're just going to give it to him now. I'm gonna give him the
maybe.
win.
Well, see, this is what I came up with. Like, he is surprisingly coordinated for somebody who, you think you need to adjust to your body?
Yeah. He's just into it, man.
He's got it, He's like a baby giraffe.
Yeah.
He was ready.
So, I also think it's interesting, and it's also a very good point in the movie, so you see where Tom Hanks stands. They're walking down the pier. She's got arms filled with stuffed animals, and they walk right past a Zoltar machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even see it.
Assumably, the Zoltar machine.
Yeah.
Presumably. And
what's the question? Does he have to find the exact same one?
I don't know.
I'm just curious.
I have no idea. I don't know how Zoltar works. I don't know where it is. It's very troubling.
Yeah.
That's out there somewhere.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I don't want to find it. Yeah.
I want to find it. I want to see what I can do with that thing.
I don't know.
For 25 cents?
Well, and
it's $1 now.
and you have to have the skill to aim it and get it into, roll it down the thing so
That's
that
true.
it lands in his mouth.
Yeah.
So they walk past there, and then they're at kind of this little dance space where there's a live band playing, and they slow dance, and they kiss more.
Yeah.
And we find out Josh is pretty much he's in. He's gonna be an adult.
Yeah. It's almost kicked in.
They meet at a room. I don't know whose place it is. Maybe hers. I don't know. They meet somewhere, and it gets hot and heavy. And it's on.
Well, it's on Josh's birthday. He blows off Billy. And then
That's right.
He meets up with her later.
He blows off Billy on his birthday to get blown off.
Yeah, man. Gets
So-
birthday sex. Good for him.
That's right. He's 13 now.
Yeah, man. He's a man.
So yeah, he's and then it's a great transition to them, staring deeply and her taking off her shirt, and then immediately just the elevator door opening and Tom Hanks just sprinting out, like
the next
shivers
day,
everything.
he's so happy.
Woo! So we have another little montage of him adulting.
Yeah.
Just doing adult stuff and really just getting accustomed. And one of my favorite things is he's at an adult party filled with adults, and he's putting on a good show, and then a kid comes out asking for algebra help. And Tom Hanks is like, I know algebra, and he goes and he helps the kid, and that only endears him more to people. So, and Tom Hanks gets the idea to work on this little motion comic thing.
Well, they tell him to come up with it.
Yeah. He comes up with a choose-your-own-adventure comic.
Mm-hmm.
And he's working on it, and Susan's going to help him present it because he doesn't know anything about the adult parts of it.
Yeah.
So he just has the idea and the concept, and that's what he's going to run with. And she's like, I'll help do everything else. And he's like, okay.
Yeah.
So, just like every other man in the 80s, it was a woman doing all the work.
Yeah.
It's how it goes. And him getting all the credit for the idea.
No.
So while they're working on this, she kind of looks at him and says, what is this? Like, what is us? What is our relationship? Is this an affair? Is this,
Yeah.
And he slaps her with a magazine.
Yeah. Domestic violence, man.
And it works. No, he playfully taps her with a magazine, and she throws a magazine at him, and next thing they're rolling on the floor. So, we also know this as changing the subject.
And he successfully deflected.
Yeah.
That's right. So, they fight. It goes all right. And meanwhile, Billy, ostracized and alone, gets the list from the Public Works Department or wherever they were waiting for. The place with the blueprints.
Department of Public Affairs?
It took a while.
Yeah. It took, 6 years.
And they've been big for a while. It's like 6 weeks, thing.
Yeah.
It's a long time.
Yeah. So, So he has the list of where Zoltar's going to be.
Yeah.
And Tom Hanks won't take his calls.
No.
Because he's busy being an adult.
Yeah, he's actually working.
Yeah. So Billy has to storm down there,
Yeah.
run past the secretary to get in there, and Tom Hanks is even too busy to talk with him.
Yeah.
He's on the phone, and Billy and him have a blowout argument.
Yeah.
Which ends with Billy telling him, here's where Zoltar's going to be, slaps it down, and storms out and says, by the way, I'm 3 months older than you. and Billy's left feeling pretty bad.
Yeah.
Where does Billy tell Susan? Where does that happen?
That happens way later.
Way later.
Because what happens next is that Josh, after the Billy thing, he starts think about kid stuff. He plays the computer game.
We have another kind of montage thing of him going through his old thing, watching kids playing leaves, play stickball, all the things he'd like to do. He plays his old computer game. So, presumably he beats that wizard that turned him into an ice cube at the beginning of the game. And so he misses his childhood. Yeah. And I think after that montage, that's when he tells her?
Yeah, he's telling her that he's a kid.
So he takes Susan aside and he says, I have something to tell you and you're not going to like it. And I didn't want to tell you, but I have to tell you. And I'm a kid. I can't handle this. And she takes this as he's saying he's immature and can't do an actual relationship, or she thinks that he's married.
Yeah, as a family.
Standard things. But he says, I'm 13 years old, or, I'm a kid. I'm only, yada, yada, yada. And they go back and forth, and it's an argument, and it doesn't go well. And they part ways. And she still needs to present his presentation in the morning. Very professional of her. Yeah. And Tom Hanks kind of just washes his hands of adult life at that point.
Yeah, because during the presentation,
yeah,
Paul's being a dick. Yeah. He does the I don't get it.
his only connection to adulting is her. Mm. That's the reason he's sticking around. Yeah, which I think is the only reason men adult.
Amen.
Because women want them to adult, so men have to adult.
Exactly.
There might be something in there about personal accomplishment, pride, and whatnot, but nah.
Oh, my.
Well, maybe I should rephrase, because Tomas is here adulting all by himself, 24/7.
Yeah.
26/8, Tomas is adulting. There ain't enough hours in the day for what you do.
Yeah.
All right, so in the middle of the presentation, Josh takes off because he's going to go to the Zoltar machine.
He's going to go find Zoltar.
Yeah.
And
Susan is like, the F, man.
Yeah. She tries to finish it, but her heart's not in it.
Yeah, well, and I think that's when it clicks in her head, like, because Paul asked the question, well, who's going to spend $20 on a comic book? Yeah. Right? And then she's like, oh, shit. Like, oh, yeah. So she runs after him, and then she runs into Billy, who's buying a hot dog, and then Billy presumably says, he's at this place.
Yeah. So she runs down, and Tom Hanks gets to the Zoltar. He notices it's plugged in, which is an interesting little thing. He unplugs it so it will work.
Yeah.
which I really like. I think that that's really... Because earlier when he saw the Zoltar, it wasn't plugged in and he got his wish. And then it was plugged in and it didn't seem as magical. It was just kind of stuck there. And he unplugged it and started hitting it. Yeah. That's the steps. You can't have power going to it and you have to slap it, a lot.
Yeah.
This is the ritual that summons the Zoltar demon. You have to remove the power source and, use the spite of man. There's some other steps that Tom Hanks just stumbled into. And then you get the chance to apply your skills to get the wish. Yeah. So Tom Hanks makes another wish, lands the quarter in Zoltar's mouth, and he leaves the card in there because Susan shows up. Yeah. And she's kind of freaking out because what's done cannot be undone. Yeah. And she believes him now that he's a kid, and she asks him how old he is, 15, 16. He's like, I'm 13. And she's like, oh, no, because,
Yeah. And then
the statutory goes both ways.
And then the funny part too that makes me laugh. He's like, "You can come with me," and she's like, "Fuck that."
Yeah. No, he's all like, Zoltar's right there. You can get a wish,
Because anybody that's an adult realizes going back sucks. No way, man.
So, Susan drives him to his house. He gets there, he's still in his tie and business suit. That's another thing I'd like to bring up. Throughout this movie, Tom Hanks' wardrobe is changing. He goes from dressing like a child to more and more like an adult. To the very end, he is dressed completely suit and tie, 100% professional. It's good visual cues so that we know where the character stands. Yeah. So he comes out of his car. Oh, another great thing. When he runs out at the elevator earlier... He's been getting Cheetos and soda and all this stuff from his secretary, but when he bursts out of the elevator after the night of, after the fair, he tells his secretary to bring him black coffee. Yeah. As professional as it gets as far as coffee goes. Yeah. So, just another really subtle transition. Well, it's not that subtle, but, it's better than saying, I'm an adult now and I will do adult things. It's just... Coffee, black, and
Yeah,
So she drives him there, and he walks off, and they kind of look back and forth at each other, and eventually during one of the cuts, he is a child in an adult suit. Yeah. Which, it's kind of a metaphor for the whole thing, a child doesn't fit in an adult suit. And another thing I like is when he runs inside, he still has his suit on, and, they give each other one last smile. Yeah. And then she's got to book it because there's a kidnapper around. Yeah. And, if she's there when the kid shows up, they can track her license plate and find out that there's a guy in the city who Social Security didn't line up that she was with for a while. And she's in all kinds of legal trouble.
Yeah, she's in deep shit. Yeah. He gets to go back to being a kid. She's got to clean up the mess.
Exactly. Like every other woman in the 80s. He's, but when he runs inside, it's pretty much the last shot of the movie. His shoes don't fit him, so his shoes are left out there, Mm-hmm. Another really cool thing, he's leaving it behind. Yeah. And he runs in, and, he's in his house, and then he's like, Mom, I'm home. Then the next shot is completely fanciful and really dumb to me. He and his friend are singing their same song going down the street. And we all know that mom is never letting that kid out of the house again. He ain't going nowhere without somebody looking over his shoulder. But, and then Heart and Soul starts playing. Credits roll. Do, do, do. Do, 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 do.
And there it is.
Yeah.
That was big. And it was a much better movie than you would think from me talking about it. It has...
Yeah, it's one you gotta watch.
You really... It's filled with childish glee. It's just... It's fun. It's not really made for anything but entertainment purposes. Yeah. But it's very well made. And it's very enjoyable. It's a great what-if story.
It's my favorite Tom Hanks movie.
Really?
Yeah, man.
Out of all of them?
Yeah.
Over Terminal?
Yeah, man. Terminal's a good one. That's underrated.
I was joking.
Oh, it's actually pretty good.
I've never seen Terminal.
Oh, man, it's pretty good. Pretty good.
Over the Toy Stories?
Yeah, man.
Really?
It's like, I watched this movie when I was a kid, and I really liked it. And I don't know, it just always makes me happy when I watch it. You know.
That might be it.
Yeah.
Part of it. That
Yeah.
always makes stuff good.
Yeah, man. It's Tom Hanks. How do you not love Tom Hanks?
I am a big fan.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man.
teammates. Yeah.
All right. So we're gonna grade this.
Yeah.
He's like F plus.
You guys go first. I need to think about it.
All right.
Let's go B.
All right. Well, you know I'm gonna go with an A plus.
Yeah.
You're gonna go with
we already
an A
know.
plus.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, well, especially for me, you get I'm tugging on the heartstrings. You know, like when I first watched this movie, my grandma showed it to me. You know, and so I'm like, oh, this is great. And she's dead, so when I watch it, I'm like, oh, you know, and I can think about my grandma. So that.
Sorry
helps,
about
man.
your grandma and her ridiculously late term abortion.
No, but A plus, man. This movie's awesome. I love it so much. It just instantly makes me happy.
When I grade a movie, it doesn't need to be a cinematic masterpiece to get a high grade. It has to be good for what it is. Like, if you're a shitty old horror movie,
Yeah.
you know, I'm not expecting you to have, you know, expert camera work. Like, what are you and what do you do? And that's how you get a grade. And I'm trying to think of where this movie falters with what it is.
Yeah.
I'd say that there's just a couple like plot holes here.
It's
and
just
there
like
that
things
this,
are kind of convenient.
This steamrolls, but you know,
Yeah.
so does The Dark Knight. So you know, yeah, I'm gonna go with a B.
All right.
Peaceful.
Yeah, I like this movie. It was really good. The only thing is like there was no moment where I was like rolling or super entertained. It was entertaining throughout, and it had a lot of things that made me smile.
Yeah.
But there was no just gut punch of humor for me.
Yeah.
There was.
Well, there was when you broke your cousin's leg. That got me going.
Oh, remember that scene in Big when he broke his cousin's leg?
Oh man.
So yeah, that was
That's big.
That's big.
that was big.
Yeah.
That was big.
All right, man.
Well, I'll see you guys next time.
Bye.
Have a good one.
Yeah,
Talk
man.
to you later. No, Andy's dad.
Yeah.